Welcome to episode 4 of the PDS podcast. We have yet another awesome show planned for today, but before we get started, I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Miracle Dent Repair. We'll hear a little bit more about them a little later in the show. Also, if you're watching us live right now, just remember that this is the raw and uncut version of the podcast, which means you may see or hear some things that don't make it into the final episode. Also, during the break, you'll have an opportunity to ask today's guests some questions of your own. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Our special guest for today is Jordan Hall. Jordan is an extreme weather multimedia journalist with Severe Studios. That's a mouthful. He's been chasing storms since 2015 and has been hooked on it ever since. He's getting into the hurricane side of things lately as well and hopes to start covering some wildfire action in California soon. Jordan is addicted to being as close as humanly possible when it comes to chasing. Welcome to the show, Jordan. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
And this is going to be super confusing with Jordan and Jordan.
Which is why you have your name set as not Jordan.
That's right.
This will be hilarious.
So, how have things been for you, Jordan?
Well, I just moved down to Norman, Oklahoma, so that's pretty exciting. Ready to hit this 2022 chase season head on.
Right on.
Yep. Get all situated right here.
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware, Jordan's joining us from Panera Bread today.
Yep.
Stealing their internet for the podcast.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we, for those who don't know, I personally do know Jordan Hall. I met him in 2019. Was that one? Yeah, that was the first time we met, eh?
We met up south of Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, we met up in 2019, and we've been pretty good friends ever since. Some of you may realize that our original guest for today was supposed to be Jason and Kirsten Harris out of Australia. Unfortunately, they had to reschedule, so thankfully Jordan was down to join us for today's episode. So again, Jordan, thanks for joining us.
I'll be a good filler.
You're putting the effort in by trekking out to the Panera Bread and joining.
I had to trek out here.
Did you at least get supper?
Yeah, I had Raising Cane's today, so that was pretty good.
Americans and their awesome restaurants.
Yeah,
we don't get that up here.
That's new for me down here, so I'm excited. I gotta make sure I watch the weight though.
It's good for a tornado. Every year, the harder you are to blow away.
I need to get that cardio, man. Heart gets going, things get crazy. So, yeah.
So Jordan, most storm chasers typically prefer chasing supercells and tornadoes and, the average stuff you see all over YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah.
However, you're one of the few chasers who chases hurricanes and tropical weather as well. So if you don't mind, we would like to chat about that side of your storm chasing a little bit for the first part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely not. No, I'm joking. Yeah, absolutely. No. Let's do it.
And that's all the time we have. Thanks, everyone.
All right, moving on. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's hit it.
So I guess first off, how'd you get into chasing tropical weather?
So I've always wanted to do hurricanes. I remember when I was a kid, like when I started my chasing, my dad always told me, he's like, why do you do tornadoes? Hurricanes are cooler anyway. And I was like, whatever, dude. But thanks, Dad. But no, last year, 2020, I decided to go down and do Hurricane Delta. I've only done one hurricane total. Didn't really have time to do them, but starting 2022, I plan on getting into as many as I possibly can. But yeah, no, they're pretty interesting. I'm still learning them, but they are something completely different compared to doing tornadoes. So
what interests you the most about them then?
So many different things. The craziest thing is, so with the tornado, I mean, it's there, it's gone. You experience it, then it's just gone. The hurricane, what interests me the most is that you have all this time working up and leading up to it, where it's just a buildup. And you get down there and you're preparing for it while everybody's leaving. The craziest feeling in the world is being on the highway, driving south, let's say into Louisiana, and you're the only one driving south, and you have all these people backed up on the interstate going the opposite direction. This is crazy. So, and there's the fact that you're going to be sitting in there with wind speeds over 70, 80 at times, obviously higher in some situations, just consistently for hours. That is just, it's like being in a vacuum cleaner.
I was in one hurricane by accident in my entire life. I was a little kid. I was on family vacation with my grandma. We were in Orlando, Florida, and what was it? Hurricane Floyd.
Oh wow.
Came through. Yeah, I think that was like 99 or something like that. And yeah, that's the only hurricane I've ever chased, and I didn't mean to chase it.
Fair enough.
So I guess, do you prefer chasing hurricanes or tornadoes more?
I will take tornadoes every day of the week. Don't get me wrong, I love hurricanes. It's a great time, but they come after tornado season for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's just where I'm at with it. Keeps me busy, you know.
Yeah.
So like with a tornado, like you want to be back, you want to see it, you want to be able to see that entire thing. In a hurricane, what are you going to see? Like besides stuff,
besides rain,
Jordan, besides stuff flying across in front of you, like what are you after? What is there?
Usually when I'm down doing hurricane coverage, I'm covering I'm usually have a live stream going, trying to sell breaking weather video.
Okay.
So I'm keeping an eye out for damage, buildings coming apart. On top of it, though, I was a firefighter for 6 years, and I grew up in a first responder family. So I am first responder trained and whatnot. So if I do come across anybody who's ever hurt or needs help, I can do that. So I'm not just worthless there. Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, they're just there to film." Yes and no, because I am there to film, but I'm also there because I love to be there. And if people need help, I'm more than willing to help out. So that's just how I am.
Right on. So my next question, I guess, isn't probably the best one since you've only actually chased one hurricane. But have you ever found yourself in a bad situation during a hurricane?
Yeah, our first one, obviously. Yeah, not gonna name names, but my chase partner, when we chased Delta, we tried to do a driveway turnaround. So we pull the driveway back out, go the other way. We were live streaming, and this driveway had a straight drop off into the ditch, and driver didn't see it, and we dropped down in there and somehow just backed it out. And all we did, we literally looked at each other and didn't say a word for like 6 hours. Like it was just one of those, like, okay,
well, that was lucky.
Yeah, nope, didn't say a word, moved on, and then 8 hours later, he looks over at me and goes, "Are we just not going to talk about what happened earlier?" I was like, "Nope." That was
never happened.
That was right after he almost hit an alligator on the interstate going to Baton Rouge. So just Louisiana for you.
What's going off that between approaches that are a 90-degree drop off and alligators on the freeway? What's the most difficult part of chasing a tropical storm?
I would say especially when it becomes nighttime and all the power's out, you have no power, can't see all you have is your headlights and flashlights. And with that, it makes it difficult to see everything around you. So it's really hard to be situationally aware. So that's why you got to really focus on it. It's very easy to accidentally drive into like a power line that's down or trees that are down. You don't know, everything at that point is so unstable because it just went through a hurricane. You don't know what's going to fall. So I think that's probably one of the biggest issues, I'd say. If not the surge waters and flood waters on top of it. So if you're able to drive.
Yeah.
How strong was Hurricane Delta?
If I recall, I think it downgraded to Cat 1 or maybe borderline Cat 2, but it started dying when it came. It was Cat 4 at one point after it passed the Yucatan, I believe. But then I believe, what was it? Laura was last year, right? Right before it. I believe it was Hurricane Laura.
So, yeah.
Hurricane Laura went through there, and I think it cooled the waters down just enough to where it kind of killed Delta as it came in on approach. So that's another thing, is where Delta was dying on approach, it kind of petered out as it hit land. I'm looking forward to getting a hurricane, which isn't a good thing for people who live down there, obviously. I'm not saying but if you get a hurricane that's intensifying on landfall, it's a completely different story. So it's not dying out. It's just getting stronger, and then you notice a lot more damage with that. Delta was like we got into the eye of it, and it was like the backside of the hurricane just disappeared. We didn't even get the other eye wall or nothing. Didn't really feel like it anyway. So,
so is there any extra precautions that you take when chasing hurricanes that you wouldn't normally take when if you're chasing like supercells and tornadoes?
Absolutely. So you're gonna want to pack food, water, everything with you before you get down there. The key is before you get down there, because one issue I see is we'll get chasers that'll go down there and then they'll fill up all their gas cans down there already when people are scrambling to get gas for themselves, the people who actually need it down there, and they get food down there. I always recommend at least 2 states north or whatever, get loaded up with your gas cans, get your food, get your water. So if you do get stranded, you're not screwed really. You're just kind of like, oh, I'm stranded, but I got everything I need to stay safe and stay hydrated and eat, so yeah, that's something I don't worry about filling up gas cans for a tornado, or like, I'll stop and get food 20 minutes before initiation at a gas station, Liberal, Kansas or something, like wherever I'm at.
Gotta get those Allsups burritos.
Oh, dude, no. Bad decision right there. No.
So, kind of on the same lines of the last question there, when you're in your target zone, getting ready for a hurricane impact, do you obviously don't want to be ground level for your home base kind of thing? Do you like stay in a parking garage or
a good key?
What do you do there?
So I can tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Maybe what we did, but it was whatever. Ideally, especially with a strong hurricane, you're going to want to find like a home base that's like a parking garage is literally perfect. It's a strong, sturdy structure. And you can get up in elevation above where the surge level is. When we were down south, we were mobile the entire time. We were in the car mobile the entire time, but we were also just a little above sea level to where the surge shouldn't have been too much of a factor. So that was why we were mobile. Everybody around us was mobile as well. But yeah, typically you do want to find a strong structure. It's a big reason why, for example, one of my buddies, John Humphreys, he had that surge camera this year, went on the coast, laid this live streaming camera, and had it live streaming for news networks on the coastline. Because you don't want to be there, especially where it was. I can't think of where it was. It'll come to me, but you do not want to be on an island that's like level or below sea level, especially the hurricane coming in. But like putting a camera on a palm tree and leaving it there works perfect, So I'm actually working on building a couple of those as well for this season. So
awesome. I know Jason and Kirsten have been creating like some GoPro surge cam waterproof containers or something that they were showing me a few months ago. But
heck yeah,
something you can deploy and not have to be there watching over it the whole time, kind of thing.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Especially, only issue is when they don't work. So
yeah, for sure. Trying to think if we have any other questions.
What's the biggest danger you faced in a hurricane?
The biggest one I faced? Me and my chase partner were sitting there live streaming, and we had a piece of it was like a roof of a shed, flew over into the house to our left and landed right in front of the car and like threw water up into the car. It would have been about 5 feet forward. Probably would have took out the driver's side window, windshield, whatever. It was flying metal, flying debris, the hurricane. So
wow,
I'd say the flying debris around the car is probably the scariest, especially when you're in a vehicle that the windows can bust out, whatever. It's pretty scary.
Oh man,
metal fly past you, for hours on end.
That just doesn't sound like fun.
It's a good time. It's like dodgeball, but with your life, I guess.
Well, you'd be exhausted by the time you're done.
You're on base, yeah. I have never slept like I slept that night, but I was also moody that night too. So we got to Baton Rouge, and my chase partner was hungry and wanted me to go find him food. He's probably watching this right now. He's like, go find me food. There's a gas station. I was like, dude, the power's out everywhere. Like, where am I gonna go get you food in a gas station? Like, and then obviously our hotel didn't have power, and so you're just in the soaking wet clothes in this room that's just no AC. You're in Louisiana. It's humid. You're just like, oh my, it's an experience.
Sounds like you're really selling it. You're
It's
really,
good.
really selling it.
Honestly, it's a once in a lifetime experience, to be honest with you. You have to want to do it, but like you're really in it when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Bring
See,
deodorant.
I kind of, there's a part of me that wants to try chasing a hurricane sometime, but at the same time, I know how much I hate blizzards, and it's basically just a really strong, warm blizzard. So I don't know.
That's 80 degrees, dude. You know, wear a raincoat, man. Wear goggles. If you get out of the car, wear goggles.
Jesus. Skidoo helmet.
Maybe next
And a
hurricane.
helmet. That's probably a good idea. I didn't do that. I should have, but here I am still. So we're doing all right.
Maybe next hurricane season, I'll have to come down for one if there's a good one lined up.
You definitely need to.
Well, I guess that probably already takes us to our first break, eh, Curtis?
It does. That went quick.
Yeah, we didn't really have a whole lot of questions lined up for the hurricane part, but
Let's get tropical.
Hi, CT.
So yeah, I guess we're going to take our first break here. If anybody that's watching the live stream has any questions for Jordan or anything they'd like to say, now's your time to shine. I'm seeing a lot of comments that aren't showing. Are you seeing that, Curtis?
I am.
I'm thinking that's people sending stars, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to hop on my phone here and check.
Just log in and make sure we're not missing something.
Yeah.
Definitely watching it. I'll click on it on my phone and see if I can see any comments on here.
Heather likes our names, Jordan, and not Jordan.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it is. So it's people sending stars. So
That's what it is. It's a stars party.
James Skeevers, I think.
Skivers, yeah.
Skivers.
Yep.
And Courtney Hall.
Yeah, that's my dad.
So thank you guys for the stars.
And Trish Carlisle.
Was there one more?
Yep,
It's not
Trish
showing
Carlisle.
on my phone.
Humphrey's
All right, and
comment
Trish Carlisle. What about Jordan's chasing hat?
What about it? Oh God, no.
What?
No, I know
What?
exactly what he's talking about. We're gonna leave that out. Yeah, I have a bucket hat, a pink bucket hat. I bought it Target. It's like the girliest thing. Like I'll message it to you if you can somehow pull it up after the break, and we'll throw it up there. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, any questions that come in, we'll bring them up after the break here. So if you want to send that to me, I should be able to get it imported here.
I'll send you the meme they sent me about it.
Well, you know you've made it when you've become a meme.
Here we go. I'll send it. What do you on the messenger?
Yeah, if you want to send it on Facebook, that's cool. Or yeah, I don't think you can send it directly in here. Oh yeah, we're on break right now.
Cool. I didn't know we were off yet. So
yeah.
Which, I mean, everyone can still see us. It's just this part gets deleted.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, cool.
This is just everybody's chance to interact with us and ask you any questions they may have.
Let me make sure this goes through. It's a meme. There it is. You should have it. Yep. Thanks, John. That's all I gotta say is thanks, John. Never live that down. That was actually the day. That was Weibo. We'll talk about it when we come back, kind of. Yeah. We'll talk about this hat when you show it on there, because that was a day. We'll talk about it. It's hilarious.
Let's see if I can get this in here as an overlay.
Oh God. That's gonna be great.
You seem
I'm already
really
out
excited.
of water. I'm already.
Oh, it works. Okay, sweet. All right, we'll get to that after the break.
Oh God.
Oh, that is perfect.
No, dude, bought it as a joke, and now I'm gonna have to wear it all the time. It's gonna blow off my head. I don't even have a chin strap for it.
Did you ever see that hat I got in 2019?
Which one was it?
It was that friggin' crocodile skin cowboy
Oh,
hat.
yeah.
I've still got it here somewhere.
If I recall right, 2019, I was chasing with Derek Smith, and I was stunting this bright pink Nike headband.
Yeah, I remember that.
And yeah, I had like longer hair, so I like had my hair pulled back. This pink Nike headband, hanging out the window, filming like Tahoka and Tulia, and
Were you rocking the Pit Vipers at the same time?
dude, if I had Pit Vipers, man, I don't think there would be any girls left in Oklahoma. No, but no, but it was. I found, so this is gonna sound gross, but it was good luck. The day before Tahoka, I found this freaking headband in a ditch, but it was still wrapped in plastic. They still had the plastic like it was brand new. It had never been unsealed yet. There it is.
Oh, that is.
If you look at the door, it says Togs on the door. You zoom in on that door, you'll see we wrote Neil Hines and Derek Smith was with us. So Neil Hines out of Montana was with us that day. And that was the Tulia day. You remember that day, Jordan? You were probably down. You were down there because that was day after. No, 2 days after Tahoka, because the day after Tahoka was Kansas. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Neil Hines was supposed to come down there the day of Tahoka, and then he backed out that morning and said, "Oh, today looks like crap, so I'm not coming till tomorrow." And then he gets pictures of Tahoka and is like mad. I had a my chase partner I went to Delta with, my buddy Spencer. He did the same thing with.
That's the guy who drove off the approach.
Yeah, I got him. He is typing on Snapchat already, so there we go. No, but I told him to come down to Chugwater, Wyoming, for the 4th of July that year. I told him to come chase Eastern Wyoming. I chased with Dan Fitz that day. Yeah, Dan Fitz and Jerry, and we got the Chugwater tornado in Wyoming. And my buddy Spencer was like, "Oh no, I'm not coming." And then he kicks himself every day for it. But the one I will say, Spencer did get Capital Montana, so you got to give him that.
Nice.
That was his first actual like tornado, like good tornado.
Right on.
So yeah, he got a good one.
Yeah, I had a few people that backed out on Tahoka too that day, and I just had a feeling about it, and sure enough.
He hit me with the name dropping everybody but me. Oh wait, oh god. Yeah, I got you in there, Spencer. Don't worry. Ain't leaving you out.
That's too good.
No, yeah, everybody ditched out on Tahoka. I mean, I wanted to ditch out on it when it was outflow dominant, and I was like, well, it sucks. And then 30 seconds later, I got a big dusty wedge on the ground. Wasn't a wedge, but like so much
nice
dust. It looked like one at first.
Yeah. I remember like I was with you and Jason and Kirst on that road, and Derek was there that day too, right? Yeah,
I was with Derek.
Yeah, and then we kind of decided it was dead, and you guys took off, and then I just kind of like skipped over that highway and went to the other side and watched for a few more minutes, and I just started up my live stream. And I was saying to everybody on the live stream, this storm's basically dead. It's gone outflow dominant and everything. And then I turn around. I had like not even a quarter of a mile to drive to the highway. I get to the highway. As soon as I turn right, the guests that I had 2 tour guests with me, Cheyenne and Chris Amateur. And Chris is in the back. She looks to the right and she's like, "Look on the ground!" And I like look to the right. I'm like, "Holy crap!"
Is that when you had Barb with you too?
No, Barb wasn't with me for that one. No.
Okay, never mind.
Barb came down middle of May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So. But yeah, and then yeah, you know how it went after that. But it was just crazy how it went from dead to tornado on the ground within a few minutes.
Derek Smith I like pointing at it. I was like, pretty sure it's a tornado over there. because we're sitting there with Jason parked on the side of the highway. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's a tornado. He goes, no, it's just a spin up. It's just...
Well, yeah, like at
And I was
first it
like,
looked.
I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. And then I watched it and I'm like, no, that whole mesocycle, like there's a meso there now. And he goes, and then all of a sudden you see it in his face, and it's like clicked. He's like, oh God, it's like
Yeah.
here. Got it.
At
That thing
first
was
it
on the
just
ground
looked.
forever.
At first it just looked like a little gustnado. Like even in my
It-
live stream, you can hear me saying, "I think that's just a gustnado," and then like a few minutes later, I'm like, "No, that is definitely a tornado."
It proved us wrong, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, real quick before we come off of the break, does anybody else have any questions that they would like us to ask Jordan? Give you another minute or two, and then I'll be throwing our advertisement up here. All right, I guess not.
There's your dead air for the noise reduction.
Yeah, true enough. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna throw up our advertisement, and that'll be our cue that we're done our break. And
PDS hat
then
warning.
what's that?
Said PDS hat warning coming soon.
Yep. All right, so yeah, here we go.
Hail damage. It can happen at any time, and when it does, bring it to the hail repair specialists at Miracle Dent, because dents are what we do. Our paintless dent repair process maintains your original factory finish with no repainting or parts to order. You'll have your vehicle with its original factory paint back in no time like it never happened. If Mother Nature has put a dent in your summer, come to Miracle Dent Repair. Dents are what we do.
All right, we're back. So before we get on with the show, if you were watching last week or 2 weeks ago, you may have heard we had a gift certificate giveaway from our sponsor of the PDS podcast, which is Miracle Dent Repair. We only ended up having 3 people enter the contest, so we have 3 of our 6 gift cards to give away today. And the winners of those are Sierra Wood, Marie Jennifer, and Jane B.
See, that was the perfect spot for you to pull out the drum roll on your sound effects.
Oh, I never even thought of that. Oh,
Jordan, come on.
I didn't do nothing.
So if you guys are watching, send us a message after the show and we will get you your gift certificates. So that means we do have 3 more $100 gift certificates. Yeah, 3 more $100 gift certificates left to give away. There they are there. They're for $100 off of dent repair at Miracle Dent Repair in Winnipeg. So what you need to do to win these ones is like and share this live stream right now and comment hashtag the PDS podcast. And as soon as we end the stream, we'll be picking 3 winners out of the contest. Try that again.
Out of the comments.
Out of the comments, and we'll send them a message and get them their gift cards. Connie says, "Hello, Jordan, and not Jordan."
Connie?
Hello.
So yeah, I guess that takes us to 21 questions now.
The meat and potatoes. This is where it gets real.
And potatoes.
So
Where I actually know what I'm talking about a little bit. We're finally not just, yeah, here we go.
So because of the fact that we've got a podcast and I'm very much a new chaser, I'm going to take advantage of every single guest we have and ask them, what is your secret weapon when looking at models? And not those kind of models, like the weather models.
You had to specify there.
I had to make sure.
All right. Let me change my train of thought here. No. So when I first started chasing out of college, I'm not gonna lie, I was an SPC chaser. I didn't know what I was doing, but I kind of live a lot by Pivotal and College of DuPage both. I kind of cross-reference both of those. for model outlooks. I'm sure you've heard that. I've listened to all of your podcasts ahead of this, and everybody said the same thing pretty much. So to make sure you write that down if you haven't already. But no, I really like looking at the HRRR is a good one when it's getting a lot closer in advance. But then when you have like when you're a couple days out, it gets tricky because you have so many different models to look at. You got the NAM and the wrap, which nobody really uses the wrap, but NAM, wrap, a couple other ones, and what you're just looking for consistencies is kind of the biggest thing. And what's hilarious is Pivotal and College of DuPage both differ in different, like completely different ways. So you'll have like 5 completely different things sometimes for one model run, and it's just confusing. And you're like, I don't know which one to pick. And so
I run into that a lot.
And it updates every hour. And so everything just changes every hour. So it turns into a lot. So you're really just looking for consistencies. A big thing when I'm looking at soundings, the biggest thing for me on soundings is critical angle. Love you, Zach. Love you, Nick. It's my boy.
So for those who are listening to the audio podcast, Zach Walters just commented saying, Jordan Hall, I'm his #1 fan.
I love that guy.
So real quick, before we continue with 21 questions, I totally forgot. We had a question during our break from John Humphreys saying, what about Jordan's chasing hat? Want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I got that this year at Target, and we made a joke about it with our Severe Studios group, and I actually wore it out on a chase with John and Scott one day. Mind you, the first time I ever wore this hat, I did not see a tornado, but I hailed my car out. So it was
lucky.
Oh yeah, there's
the hat.
That was back when my car was orange. You guys will see the car here in a little bit, but what it looks like now. But yeah, PDS hat warning there.
Possible hazard type PDS hat.
This image has to make it into the show notes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
God.
So if you're listening to the audio podcast, we will have show notes available eventually where you'll be able to see the picture we're all laughing at right now.
That's probably like the 4th or 5th windshield John went through this year was that day. And I was with him, and I was like, we were sitting in dime-sized hail in eastern Montana. Mind you, Montana hail is a lot different than hail down here. It is hard. It's solid. Okay, so dimes are like, they'll still leave some marks. So I was getting sick of sitting in the dimes, and I'm sitting next to John. I'm like, you know what? I feel like if I go forward and around this corner like 100 yards, I'm going to get out of this hail. Been through so many storms. It works every time. Usually, I'm like, what do I have to lose right here? I go forward. I made it 50 yards and around a corner, and it went from dimes to baseballs. And I was like, there's no turning around now. I mean, if I turn around, I lose my back window. I'm already losing my front window. All right, just start recording. So just started letting the camera roll, lost the windshield. It was a great time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
thanks, John.
That's the story of the chase hat. All right, now we can get back to 21 questions. What do you do when you're not chasing, like for work or pleasure, anything like that?
So actually,
not models again.
No, maybe, but no. Anyway, I actually have my commercial drone license, so I can actually fly drone commercially for like real estate or land surveys.
Okay.
That works out pretty good. That pays decent if you can get some gigs for that. But when I'm not doing that, I do like Uber Eats, Uber, DoorDash. Try to be self-employed, especially with storm chasing. It's really hard to storm chase when you have like a full-time job and you have to ask your boss for a day off. Like, oh, there's a storm chase coming up, and then that day comes and it's not even a chase anymore. It's like weather. you can't predict weather. I mean, you can, but you can't. You don't know what's going to happen. So I try to be self-employed because it gives me I have an open schedule to do what I need to do. You just have to be very responsible with that at the same time. Because people, if you're working for yourself, it's easy to just cheat yourself and be lazy. So
yeah, for sure.
Don't do that.
What do you enjoy the most about storm chasing? I know that's a hard question because there's probably a lot of things.
There's a lot, but I mean, most people, when you tell me storm chasing that you love it, they think, oh yeah, you probably just love the being right next to a tornado and the thrill of it. To me, the best part about it is the workup, like the forecasting and nailing your forecasting and being in the right area.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the forecasting for me is driving so far, because I was in South Dakota and then I was in Montana forever. So I'm driving 1,000 miles one way just for a storm. That's a storm that's on a weather model that says it's going to be there tomorrow, so it's just the driving throughout the night, drinking just eating gas station food. It's just terrible for you. But the whole workup to it's actually, I think, almost just as fun as the tornado itself. And then after the tornado, or even if you don't get a tornado, even after the storm, is the people you meet and the experiences you get with other people that makes it fun. Like it's a great time.
Yeah.
So I'd say just the build up to it is honestly just as fun as the tornado itself. That's probably one of my most favorite things.
Sweet.
How'd you get into storm chasing?
Watched Twister when I was 5.
Nice.
I watched Twister when I was 5. Then I was obsessed with tornadoes, and I started researching them on my grandma's desktop computer in Baker, Montana. Just started studying tornadoes ever since I was like in elementary school. Obsessed with them. I sent a tornado picture drawing I had to Ed McIntosh and the Billings News for like Color 8, Color the Weather for kids when I was like in elementary school. I was obsessed with tornadoes.
That's awesome.
It's ridiculous. So yeah. Then when I got to high school, I hailed my pickup out in high school, trying to chase storms.
So do you have any professional training?
I wouldn't say professional. Obviously, I'm sure every storm chaser goes through like their Skywarn classes, which are very simplified. Your storm spotting classes. I've done all that. I'd say like the only professional training I have is on the first aid, like medical side of things, like first responder side of things. That's where I'd say that I have the most experience, but a lot of it's self-taught and just being aware. Situational awareness is probably the most important thing you can have in storm chasing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So with the situational awareness, what's one of the most common misconceptions that you think people have with tornadoes?
English.
I'm trying to read it. I'm sorry.
What do you mean by that?
What is one misconception that many people have about tornadoes?
Okay. I get this all the time, and it's like frustrating when I'm like, all right, I'll explain it to you. It's like I tell somebody I chase tornadoes, and they're like, oh, so you just like see a storm in Texas and drive down there and get it? And I'm like, the storm's not waiting 18 hours for me to drive down there, Like, no. I hid in the basement when I used to hide in the basement when there was lightning and when I was in middle school. That's my dad. Ridiculous.
Your dad's ratting you out, eh?
Yeah, there he goes. But now I'm off track. What'd you ask me? Oh,
you're gonna make me say it again.
Okay, I got you. No, it's like when I tell people that chase tornadoes, it's like, oh, you see the storm, you just drive down to it. And it's like, no, you forecast it. There's a lot more to just, oh, I see a storm 14 hours away. I'm going to drive down there and get it. Because by then it's gone, long gone. So that's probably my big thing. Or, is it just going to suck you up into it? Like, suck you up into the sky?
Yes.
Yes. And it'll toss you. Or the most dangerous thing with it's the debris flying around it. So you just have to explain it to people. I don't think there's a lot of information for people that just hit people in the face about tornadoes. They have to like seek it out if they really want to know. So I think that's why a lot of people just don't know, because not a lot of people are just seeking it out. I don't feel like.
Yeah. So you mentioned your car a little earlier. What do you drive for a storm chasing vehicle, and do you have anything special, special equipment in it or on it or anything like that?
So I used to always be a pickup person until gas prices got to what they were. And so this year I got a 2021 Kia Forte. It's a GT line, just has a little bit bigger tires on it, but I love it. I did hail it out the day I put the hat on. But I ended up getting it. It's got a full body Rhino line on it. Bed liner, just like what's the name of your vehicle?
Helicity. Yeah.
Do you got yours Linex or Rhino? One of the two. Same thing. Just one's a little more aggressive.
Reflex. Yeah.
Reflex. It's all the
yeah.
same pretty much, but yeah, it's full body Rhino. And then I have camera mounts for the windshield and a computer mount that goes in the passenger seat.
Okay.
Yep. So you can see there, you can see the orange left over, but that's all. That whole exterior looks matte black. It's Rhino, so it's actually extremely difficult to dent and scratch.
Right on. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, probably the only Rhino lined Kia in the U.S.
Yeah, it's not very often you see it on a car. It's usually trucks and SUVs that have the bed liner on them.
Surprisingly, didn't lose any fuel mileage. I still get over 40 on the highway, so
I wish.
Works out. I have taken that thing on some roads I probably shouldn't have, that I would take my pickup on. It's made it fine. Got to be careful with that though. But I'll either be chasing in that or with my chase partner's car. He drives a Toyota Corolla that does not Rhino lined, but it does the job just fine. So
hey, you know what? The best chase vehicle is the one you got, right?
Literally, if it drives, you got it. You know. I don't recommend side by sides, but if you got a helmet, only, full sense.
I spent a lot of years driving crappy cars around in storms, and
those are the best ones to drive in storms.
Well, exactly, because you're not worried about damaging them.
Right.
So I know you were down Mangum, Oklahoma, May 20th, I think it was 2019.
I don't think I got
day.
I did not. I did not get that one. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay. So the reason I bring that one up is it was obviously a high-risk day with a ton of chaser convergence. And I just wanted to ask what your thoughts are. Has chaser convergence significantly impacted storm chasing in recent years?
And if I could talk in caps, I'd say yes. And I mean, and I hate to say it because obviously, like, the Twitter world is savage and crazy, and people complain about people who complain about chaser convergence. But if you really look at it as an issue, it's literally an issue. Yeah.
Well, it can definitely, in my perspective, it can definitely be the source of some pretty dangerous situations.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. Okay. We all started somewhere and we all wanted to go out and see it. And especially in Oklahoma, especially is the worst, I think, with chaser convergence. Eastern Colorado's getting bad, but I think Oklahoma, Texas, Panhandle takes the cake. I think the biggest issue that a lot of people don't understand is, like, it's hogging up the roadways and people drive, like, there's not everybody. There's always that select few that just forget how to drive when they're in chaser convergence, and their adrenaline kicks in when they see a storm, especially a tornado, and they forget all the driving. Like, they forget how to drive, or they like pull out in the front of the people. I was with Dan Fitz in Eastern Colorado, I think it was 2019, and there's chaser convergence on the road, which is why we always take dirt roads. I live for dirt roads. Keeps you away from the pavement. Everybody on the pavement. So
absolutely.
We had people lined up on the sides of the highway where, like, they're on the white line. Like, if they open their door, you're taking their door off type deal. And we had a dude in front of us just push his door open, and luckily there was nobody coming, but we had to swerve around it.
Yeah.
Like, situational awareness. They're like more obsessed with the storm than the traffic they're stepping out in front of on the highway. It's an issue. And then when you have that many vehicles, look at, I think, a prime example, which is I think it'd be a little better than the Magnum Day. If you look at El Reno Day in 2013, there was massive chaser convergence outside of Oklahoma City and El Reno, and that storm did the unexpected and went the wrong direction, which there isn't really a wrong direction, but in everybody's chaser eyes, it did not go the normal direction.
Yeah.
And it trapped a lot of people and caught a lot of people off guard. I know tornado hunters out of Canada, they got caught in that. They got hit with a bunch of debris from that. They were lucky to get away from that. And lots of people, like, lost a lot of parts of their vehicle, and unfortunately, we did lose a couple storm chasers that day. Rest in peace to them, Samaris and everybody else we lost there. It was not good, but that was a good example of chaser convergence gone wrong. and situational awareness. For some people, like, 'cause when I hit the ground, it was hauling, it was moving quick. So that right there should be a lesson for everybody to at least go look at. I know there's a lot. I know Skip Talbot and a couple other people have some videos on it and a bunch of different camera angles, and you can see all the traffic. So that's one thing I always recommend. If there's a bunch of new chasers, if you have your tour groups, but you have all your chasers too, if you can carpool with people, do it.
Yeah.
It's way easier to chase with a group.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not against people going out and chasing ever. Like, yeah, chasing version sucks, but I mean, it's great to have everybody out there. Just find a way to make it easier on the roadways and easier on people, because you're not only getting in the way of like other chasers, which whoop-dee, you're getting in the way of people maybe trying to get out of the situation, or first responders trying to get to a situation. You know, it causes a hazard that shouldn't even be there in the first place. Is an extra step. So
yeah, for sure.
So during the break, you mentioned that you had your commercial drone pilot's license.
Yes.
What are you going to do to get that into the chase?
So the drone stuff's pretty nice. So I can actually get aerial damage video, which is a big key with breaking news video. Getting damage from the ground is one thing, but being able to see it from the air and get the whole perspective, wide angle, and see the swath is pretty key. So that's awesome when it comes to that. I know me and Scott are working on a project called Project Maverick. Hilarious, but
talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Goose. Yeah, so we are actually working on that project where we are going to get close range ground video of a tornado while trying to simultaneously get aerial video from further back of the vehicle next to the tornado with that wide angle shot. So you have a simultaneous shot from up close and personal and the aerial shot to go along with it. So that's kind of something we're working on for 2022. It takes a lot of practice, and then you also got to understand your FAA rules. So you do not want to step on the FAA's toes ever. They will figure it out. They will find out. So you got to be as very careful about it as you can, because there's a lot to it. So, but that's something we're working on right now. It's gonna be pretty sweet if you pull it off and I don't lose the drone.
Oh, what kind of drone do you have?
Got a Mavic Pro Platinum, so it shoots 4K. It's handled some good wind. I was surprised with it. I whipped it out this year, and I was in about 45, 50 mile an hour inflow.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it sits up there about an 80-degree angle. It'll hold in one spot and it'll film. It's got an image stabilizer on there, so it's not even shit. It looks good. I mean,
that's insane.
The more you fly it, the more you learn your equipment. I mean, you know what you can fly it in and what you can't. So, and I know further away from the tornado, you're not, depending on the tornado, you're not dealing with too much wind unless you're a lot closer. So should be able to pull it off. Well, if I lose a drone, then I gotta find it and get another one, I guess.
Well, if you lose a drone, as long as you can find it, you'll be able to sell the video to buy a new one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, as long as they pay within 7 months, but that's a different topic.
But Curtis skipped around on questions here and got me lost where I was. All right, so yeah, as storm chasers, you know, we all have that one special storm or tornado that just kind of sticks with us. You know, that was the one that you're kind of trying to compete with the rest of your chasing career. Do you have one of those?
So I got a couple that stick with me. One I'm trying to compete with. I would say that's a tough one. Dang. I want to get another Chugwater Wyoming tornado, but I want to get it in a better terrain with a better roaded grid map so I can get closer.
Okay.
It was we had that from life to death, and it was beautiful rope out. It was a beautiful stovepipe at one point. Just didn't hit anything. Like, it was perfect. Blue sky, not rain wrapped. You couldn't have asked for a better tornado that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think one of the questions will go along with my other tornado I was going to talk about. So we'll go to that one. So I'd say July, 4th of July, Chugwater tornado. People are lighting off fireworks. I was chasing tornado, and me and Dan Fitz, we actually got in a softball-sized hail that night. And where were we? We were in eastern Wyoming somewhere. I can't think of the name for some reason, but we had softballs going like indenting the windshield. We're wearing safety glasses in there.
Oh wow.
It was over 4. I think it was a 4.1 inch hail.
Oh
Holy.
man.
That's pretty big.
I will say the craziest structure I've ever seen in my life. Okay, I'm not much of a. I love structure, but I'm always going for the tubes all day. Me and Scott went down to Del Rio, Texas this year. Okay, and it was the storm that dropped the record-size hailstone in Texas. Same storm that we were on. The updraft actually knuckled itself back into the towards the ground because the updraft is so strong.
Holy.
I've never seen anything like that in my chasing career. But the craziest part is Scott was like dumbfounded. He's like, I've been chasing for like 15 years and I'm 15, 18 years. He's never seen anything like it either. I have a video of it. I've never seen anything like that, to be completely honest with you. It's literally like you have a stout updraft, so you can see the backside of it in the anvil, but underneath the anvil is like knuckling back towards the ground. Because it was
so at that point, is it not dropping hailstones as much as throwing them? Like if it's knuckling over, is it just chucking them at you instead of dropping them on you?
Pretty much. I mean, we stayed out of it. What Hondo? I'm gonna look. Hold on, Hondo, Texas. Tell you the size of that hailstone because it was, and it wasn't even the biggest one that was found, but the bigger one got literally whoever had it broke it into margarita mix. According to the National Weather Service, there.
Wow.
6.4 inch hail.
Holy
was the one
cow.
that they actually brought into the NWS, and they believe there was bigger stones that just were never brought in because it was such a rural area. So softballs, about 4 inches. Think about 6.4. You know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane. Not even bed liners helping you at that point.
Your windshield won't even help you at that point. So
it's time to get under your vehicle.
Yeah.
If you can, if you're not driving a car. I mean, I'd find a way to get under there, but suck the stomach in a little.
All right, I'm totally lost now.
Yeah, well, that's your fault.
I know.
you skipped around on us.
Well, you know, the question I was going to ask him was already answered previously about the hurricane stuff, so I had to skip over that one.
Perfect.
Do you consider storm chasing to be an addiction?
It can be, yes. I know a couple people that have had to deal with it in that sort of way and try to cope with it and fix it. It's very easy to get addicted to, and I think every storm chaser out there has an addiction to it, but they either learn a way to manage it and not let it like overtake their life, or obviously, like for example, storm chasing is my life, but I also don't let it be. I'm not going to let it ruin my life either. At the same time, there's people out there that'll sell their kidney for gas money. I mean, you want to make sure you're not ruining your own life to go do it. You want to make sure you have a good life. Storm chasing balance is a big deal because that can really screw you. But yes, I think storm chasing is an addiction for everybody, but I think everybody has their ways of harnessing it, and there are negative ways of doing that, but there's also a lot of positive. So
yeah. John Humphrey says I'm dealing with it.
I'm dealing with lack of storms right now.
Yeah, this year was horrendous, to say the least.
It's gonna be nice living in Oklahoma now. So
yeah, I bet. I wish I could say the same sometimes. What's been your greatest accomplishment as a storm chaser to date?
Greatest accomplishment. I honestly, that's a tough one. Honestly, I even read that and I was like, oh, I'll think of one, but I still haven't thought of one. I mean, I think of it as an accomplishment anytime I get a tornado in the first place. You know, it's great. I would say selling breaking news video to like national TV networks, but that's like, I mean, it's kind of what we do now. So it's like a normal thing. So I'd say my greatest accomplishment is like being here after everything we've done. I'll be honest with you. I can be a little ballsy, so I try to be situationally aware, but I also am a little ballsy at times, so that can get you in trouble. So I guess my greatest accomplishment is like being here. So
That's a good thing to be proud of, at least.
yeah.
So, kind of in line with that one, do you have a biggest disappointment as a storm chaser to date?
Biggest disappointment. I would say it was probably the bust. I had a bust this year. I had a pretty bad bust. I was in Nebraska Panhandle, and we had a blue sky bust day. I have never had one in my entire life. Mind you, the day before that I thought the day before that was worse, but no, it was this day. The day before that, I didn't get a tornado because we went south into Kansas. John got a tornado that day. I was down in Colby, Kansas. And then I believe, what's his name? Nathan Moore was further north on the road I just drove down on. And they had that beautiful tornado on the southern Nebraska Panhandle. I can't think of the day, but it was like they had this huge. They had like 4 or 5 tornadoes in like an hour, just beautiful, not rain wrapped, just right there. And we missed it. I drove down that highway to get south for the storm initiation because I was looking at the models for an imaginary storm to fire. That's what I got bit that day, and the next day we got bitten even harder. I had 2 days in a row I had busted.
I kind of have a similar story to that a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2018. I drove 12 hours down to Nebraska from here in Manitoba. Blue sky busted. And on the way back, I was contemplating, should I stay the night down here because there's a setup possibly in Minnesota the next day? And I'm like, no, you know what? I'm mad. I'm pissed off. I'm gonna go home. I was butthurt.
Don't tell me it's Ashby. Do not tell me it's Ashby.
No, okay, not Ashby.
God.
But then I get home the next day and I'm scrolling through Twitter, and sure enough, big gorgeous tornado in Minnesota, and I was like,
Minnesota's been doing that, dude. I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had the 2 bus days in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Day after, I got the Faith, South Dakota tornado, so it worked out.
That's a workout, yep.
So I mean, it was a disappointment turning into finally, like, oh, it's not me as much as I thought it was anyway.
So we kind of touched on this one a little bit, but when did you realize that you wanted to be a storm chaser?
I think it really hit me hard. The Baker, Montana tornado in 2016. That's where I lived. I just graduated about 3 weeks prior, and we had a tornado actually hit our town. Hit part of our house. Our house had a little bit of damage, but the house kitty corner to us lost a lot. Like our neighborhood got smoked by this EF3 tornado in Baker, Montana, 2016. I actually ran from that one because that was my first real tornado in person. I mean, I saw the Billings, Montana one in 2012, but I was pretty young and I was kind of far away. So it was, but senior year, I knew I loved storm chasing, but I never did it and knew I wanted to do it. So I had my ex with me, and she started screaming at me like bloody murder, like she was gonna die. So that makes you panic. 'Cause that's your first real tornado. So I drove north of town, turned around, took pictures of it about 12 miles north of town. So I had called my grandpa that day too. I called my grandparents because it was going towards the house, and I called them, and my grandpa was like, "Oh, there's not a tornado. It's fine." It's like, dude, there's a tornado coming towards the house.
Go look out the other window.
I was like, I'm not coming home. I'm like, I'm gone. Like it's coming. And then he goes and looks out the window. And he goes, "Oh, would you look at that?" And then I guess him and my grandma hid in the bathroom. But
oh man,
it was just like, okay, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. He's like, "No, there's not." He was watching Judge Judy, so he's like,
don't you interrupt my shows.
Exactly. He loved that. So
do you
at least it wasn't The Bachelor.
Yes.
How do you think Tornado Alley is changing or moving with weather patterns the way they are nowadays?
Realistically, I think, to be honest, I honestly think it's been the same. I think it's been the same all along. I know everybody's seeing Dixie light up more than ever lately, but I also think it's due to like there's more coverage of everything. So back in the day, nobody really knew there was a bunch of tornadoes going through Dixie. There wasn't a lot of coverage. It was all rural areas, you know. Now where we have better technology, better forecasting, better everything, and we're starting to see that there's obviously going to be more setups down in Dixie with the Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico air coming up there. It's just, I feel like it's more of we're just learning more and more about it at this point to where it feels like things are changing, but realistically, it's like I feel like it's a natural thing, and like obviously Tornado Alley has been kind of slow in a lull. That's been with, if you look at history, I mean, every 8 to 10 years, things light up. Like you had 1999 to 2003 was crazy. You had 2011, 2013, we all know. So we're creeping up on that right now, which is actually exciting, but yet kind of nerve wracking. We haven't had an EF5 tornado since more of 2013.
Yeah.
I live right there in the back door now. So, I mean, I feel like it did slow down, but I also feel like, you know, we're just going through a cycle.
Yeah.
We're obviously learning a lot more about Dixie, though. Dixie is a wild place that is almost like new to a lot of chasers.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, the way I look at it too, like we only know so far back in history. We don't know how common or uncommon these different seasonal changes are every year.
Back to the portrait drawings on pen and paper.
Yeah,
this is what
exactly.
The tornado looked like today.
Exactly. Yeah. So like there, to me, I'm certain it's like it's normal. It's just things change around all the time. So
right.
So in your introduction, we said that you like to get a little too close to tornadoes. Have you ever been too close?
Yeah. Yep. And it was Yep. Yeah, and it was nighttime tornado too. So it didn't help. I know you have a nocturnal event question in there too.
Yes, I do. That's the next question.
Go ahead and ask me that question. I'll answer them both.
So, do you ever chase nocturnal tornadoes? If so, are there any extra precautions you take while doing so?
Yeah, I've learned. Learned the hard way. I kind of got fed to the fire, and I got bit, but luckily it wasn't too bad. Bowie, Texas last year. I was on a pretty long storm chase. Me and Spencer drove down. I drove down. We were in separate vehicles. We were chasing. We went through Bowie that morning, and we were like, "Oh, this would probably be our target for the day." And then stuff fired up by Wichita Falls. So we went up north, bagged like I think there's 2 or 3 tornadoes off that. They weren't photogenic, but they were there. You know, touched the ground, kissed the ground, never fully condensed, but kind of bird farty. And then there was one that was on the ground for like 5 minutes, but it wasn't photogenic. So I got video of that, and then it started getting dark and started pouring rain. And I've never seen that much rain in my life. Spencer got stuck on some dirt road in his Equinox, and I was like looking at radar, and I was like, there's a storm going towards Bowie, Texas right now. That was our target. I'm going there. I don't care if it's dark. I'm going to go down there. My mindset was I'm going to get south of Bowie, let the storm go through Bowie, and I'm going to come in and film any damage if there is damage for breaking news video.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to Bowie, and I'm looking at radar. Mind you, my number one rule is never rely on radar 100%. Like, don't do it because it's always delayed a little bit. So I'm getting down there. I'm like, oh, I got time. Like, it's back here. And I pull up. I'm just on the outskirts of Bowie. I'm pulling into Bowie. And all of a sudden, the rain's coming in too hard. And I'm like, I can't see the road anymore. So I stop, and I just put it in park. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to let it pass in front of me. I'm probably going to get hail cord because I'm on the northern side of it, whatever. No, it was actually – so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the winds start picking up. I have a billboard to my about 50 yards to my right, and I have a hotel sign that's about 200 yards off the right side up there, and it's lit up and everything. Winds start picking up, power cuts out. So then it's just me, rain, and lightning. And all of a sudden it starts getting obviously super windy, getting loud, like a roar. And I was like, this is not good. Like I already have the camera rolling. And all of a sudden, like I had an F-150 at the time. So I had a pickup. And it got to the point where like I felt like it was getting pretty sketchy. Vehicle shaking, roaring really loud. And all of a sudden the billboard right next to me goes down. And I'm on the phone with Spencer at the time. It's on a YouTube video. And I'm like, I told him, I was like, I have at least 110, like 110 miles an hour. I was like, my pickup is shaking. I was freaking out. That's what I guesstimated it as.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, you got pulled over at 110? That's what he said in his head. He goes, are you in a tornado? And I was like, I'm in a tornado. And at that point, my wipers quit working. Like my wipers couldn't handle the wind anymore.
Yeah.
And the water on my windshield turned into like a river and started sucking water off the windshield. And my truck slid down the road about 10 yards. I say 5 or 10 yards. Literally, I had both my feet on the brakes and it started sliding forward. So I was done. I was like, I'm dying and somebody's going to get this camera. Spencer's on the phone with me. Like, this is it. Like, I really thought I was done.
Yeah.
Oh, about maybe 30 seconds, a minute later, slowing down and kind of see in front of me. So I go up and right next to that hotel's a gas station, and I pull in and the whole gas station roof's down on top of of 2 vehicles. And so I get out, got flashlights checking. There's people in those vehicles, but they were fine. And there was a pickup flipped upside down in the ditch, and it was a firefighter. So he was like, do you think you could give me a ride to my house in town? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we hopped in, and he was kind of like he kind of showed me how to get around. There's no power. I've never been to Bowie in my other than that morning, so I don't know how to get around. Yeah. And that town got there's a lot of trailer houses, so it looked a lot. It got wiped. The trailer houses were wiped. So we get there and we're looking for making sure there wasn't people in there, sifting through the debris. I ended up burying my truck, so it was stuck when we got it. Me and him got it stuck trying to get to his house. So we were out on foot. It was pouring rain. I swear it rained like 6 inches that night. It was like monsoon. It was crazy. Wow. But luckily nobody died during that. But this is probably the scariest I've ever been. I finished up in Bowie about 12:30 in the morning, and then I was in eastern Colorado by the next within 10 hours. So I went through that adrenaline dump and still made it to Colorado for the next day chase.
Were you still awake?
I took a nap when I got there. I was pretty dead. That was a 3 days straight nonstop chase, so it killed me. Jeez. But yeah, it was pretty nuts. But one thing never rely on radar, especially at night.
Just don't chase at night.
I don't recommend, honestly, at night when it's nighttime, you're not gonna see anything unless you get lightning strikes and you see damage. So realistically, if I'm going to be out at night, I'm really just damage searching or following a storm and coming in on the damage. That's about it. I'm not actually looking to get close to the tornado at night. Have no interest in doing it. So you're not going to see anything. You just put yourself at an unnecessary risk. Your situational awareness is even harder because you can't see. So there's no point in it.
So what's your favorite dinner after catching a tornado? Your favorite victory dinner?
Ribeye. It's starting to get a little expensive at this point, but yes, ribeyes. 100%.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to my empty water bottle since I'm in Panera and I can't drink beer. I should have brought a beer. I should have snuck one in here. They probably wouldn't have said anything.
Probably not. So there's many different types of storm chasers out there. Some are out there for the science, others out there for photos and videos, and some are even just out there because they enjoy it. Would you classify yourself as any one of those, or fit into all categories, kind of thing, or what?
I think I just love to be there. It's more. I have a passion for it. I live for it. I feel like I get FOMO, fear of missing out, all the time, just because I'm not looking at a cloud. Like people are like, oh, it's just a cloud, man. It's a lot more than just a cloud. There's nothing the same about every storm. Everything's different. Every storm is its own unique thing, and so I do it because I love it. But I've gotten into the point of filming video that I love. I love filming and editing video and showing other people what I got to witness, because you never know who you're going to spark and make want to go out and do it too, or who you're going to teach somebody something. So for me, it's the passion and the love of doing it, but I also enjoy the video side of it. Filming breaking news video is exhilarating in itself because it's competition and I'm competitive. So I live for that too. It's cool. So I live for it.
That's neat. What's the What would your furthest or the most miles you've ever traveled in a single chase be?
Mm. There's so many. This year alone, I've put on over 70,000 miles of storm chasing in 2021. So I have had, and that was before July. I didn't chase after July for personal reasons, but yeah, it was ridiculous. I did, it's hard to say which one's my longest. I'll just kind of tell you where we went and you can go from there. I know it was right around round trip, almost 1,500, 1,600 miles.
Well, that's a good jaunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I left Rapid City, South Dakota, drove down to Norman, Oklahoma, met up with Scott. And met up with Scott and Kevin for the first high risk day of the year this year down in Alabama.
Mm.
So we went down to Alabama, chased down there. And the next day, once we finished up there, we went to Atlanta, Georgia, spent the night, and then we chased up in the South Carolina, North Carolina border the next day. And then when we got done at that, we spent the night in Tennessee, I think Nashville, and then non-stopped it from Nashville to Norman, and then I got in my vehicle in Norman and drove non-stop to Rapid City. Another 850 miles on top of what we did from Nashville. And then 4 days later, drove back down to Norman. Norman's almost 900 miles one way.
Yeah.
Drove all the way down to Norman. I got out of my car, grabbed my bag, put it in Scott's car, sat shotgun, and he goes, "Oh, I think we're going to chase Eastern Colorado tomorrow." I just drove through there, mind you. So, okay, cool. Let's go do it. So we get in the car. We drive all the way back up to Eastern Colorado. We actually spent the night in Colby, Kansas that night. We're right there on the border. Chase land spouts around Kit Carson, Colorado. Got done about 6 p.m. I mean, you shouldn't be chasing tornadoes in the middle of April in Colorado anyway. It's kind of weird for that far north.
Yeah.
We got done about 6, and we hoofed it to Del Rio, Texas, which is on the Mexican border. If that gives you an idea of how far south
You're
that
just
is.
all over the place.
So then we hoofed it down there. We actually there's 2 chase setups that day. One was about 150 miles north of Del Rio, and one was around Del Rio. We actually managed to pull off the chase. We chased the northern stuff until we realized it wasn't going to be good, and we somehow made it down to Del Rio for that initiation as well. So we dabbled in that up north and managed to play both targets that day. That southern target was the Del Rio one that dropped that 6.4-inch hailstone. It also put on a tornado outside of Hondo. We were on it, had power flashes in front of us, and then it was tornado warned all the way up into San Antonio. So then spent the night in San Antonio and non-stopped it from San Antonio to Norman to Rapid City.
Wow.
Those are just 2. Delta trip was for me, it was from Rapid to Texarkana to Louisiana. Then the next day we non-stopped it from Baton Rouge to Rapid City, non-stop. And then Spencer, that trip, he drove from Bozeman, Montana. So he had it even harder than I did for the Delta. So add another 400 miles on top of that, or 800 round trip on top of that for Delta for him.
These freaking machines.
But yeah, no, I can be in a car forever. If I am determined to, that's how I'm just passionate about chasing. I have to be there. If that means I have to get in a car and drive 14 hours, I'm gone. Okay, nothing's holding me back. Obviously. So
crazy how fast the miles add up when you're doing that.
It's a little insane. Then you look at your car and you're like, I am so sorry. I put on more miles.
I'm about 6 oil changes late just from that last trip.
I put in more miles on you in a month than some people put in their car in a year.
Yeah.
I promise I'll get your oil changed. I promise.
Yeah.
What's your favorite state to chase in?
So I kind of thought a lot about that, and I'm gonna have to go with either the Texas Panhandle or Southwest Kansas. I love Southwest Kansas a lot. It's gridded road systems. You better hope it don't rain. But it's those 2 areas, the Caprock and the Texas Panhandle, is just magic. I think I look at it and I just picture magic. That was where we got Tahoka, Tulia. This is beautiful. And if you don't get a tornado down there, you're going to get structure of some sort. You're going to get a beautiful mesocyclone mothership supercell down there. Guaranteed every year.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Texas Panhandle and is definitely my number one area.
Yep.
Someone found his sound
Ooh.
effects.
There it is. Out time. No.
So for those who are new to the show, that sound you just heard means it's time for a game show. That's the wrong banner. Time for
I
our
suck at
game
game
show. So our game show is called Guess the Tornado, and how it works, we give you a few random facts, and basically it's on you to guess which tornado we're talking about. You do have 2 lifelines that you can use if we run out of facts and you still can't figure it out.
And these have been getting progressively harder every single show.
I
we've
suck at
gone
trivia
through.
to begin with, so all right. Here we go.
Good.
Full
So-
send.
Yeah, so whenever you're ready, just let me know. I'll bring the first fact on the screen and we can go from there.
Go for it.
So fact number 1 is this tornado caused $1.26 million in damage.
That's not a lot. All right, I need number 2 then.
Number 2 is more people were killed on water than on land in this tornado.
Oh man, what is this? What? How many facts do I
Yeah.
get? 2?
There's
One more.
4. It's 4.
Oh, there's
4?
So there's
Yeah.
2 more. I was
Yeah.
right. Not joking. Savage. All right. I need another one. That's
This is the only recorded tornado in U.S. history that killed more people than it injured.
I'm so dumbfounded. I feel like I know. I can't even think of it. It wasn't like some. I feel like it's like some Great Lakes region state.
It is not.
Oh my! That makes it bad. What's the 4th? God, you're really picking my brain on this.
This tornado had an estimated total of 317 fatalities.
And most of the deaths are on water.
Yep.
I'm so. What? I'm thinking.
Keep in mind, you do have 2 lifelines.
I'm gonna have to use them because I am. Yikes! All right, hit me with one on the lifeline.
This tornado occurred in the year 1840.
Gee. Yeah, I don't know my 1800s. Well. God, I'm thinking hard too. It wasn't. What's my last lifeline?
This tornado was the second deadliest tornado in U.S. history.
I'm not gonna be able to give you like a town, but I'm. Was it? I want to say it was in. All right, you can give the answer after this. It'll be my only guess, but I'm just gonna give you a state. How's that work?
Okay. Yeah, that works.
You can see the internal struggle.
Yeah, I am struggling hard. I so badly. It's not Texas. Thank you. I'm gonna go with Arkansas.
Oh, you're so close.
What was it?
So close. You want to take one more guess?
Missouri.
Want to take a third
Sta-
guess?
Third guess?
Oh man.
You're in the right area.
I know. It's in Arkansas, Missouri. It's not Louisiana. So it's got to. What the hell is the state right there? And I'm just trying to think of what state that is. Hit me with it.
Great Natchez
Why did
tornado
I know
of
that one?
Natchez, Mississippi,
Cool.
May 7th, 1840.
A great name. I'm gonna have to go look that one up. That's actually a good. That was a damn good trivia question because I normally know my tornado history, but not that one. That's a little way back before my time.
So in the last few episodes, people were guessing them really quick, so I searched really long and hard for one that would be difficult this time. So I'm
I didn't get
glad
the
it worked
lucky-
out for us.
I didn't get the easy, 2013 war tornado. And
Nope.
come on, Dodge Ski in 2016. Come on. Well, you got me. You stumped me on that one. I'll give you it.
Good. I'm glad that's the first time we won.
Fair enough.
Little redemption there for us.
You got me. Yeah, there you go. Fair enough.
Um,
Where are we here?
that's about
That's
the
it?
end of the show. Yeah.
It is. So, Jordan Hall, where can people find you on social media?
I got Twitter, Jordan Hall WX, and I'm on Facebook, Jordan Hall Weather, and that's as well on YouTube. My Instagram is the official Jordan Hall as well. So it should be up on the screen for those of you listening. As I said, Twitter is Jordan Hall WX, YouTube's Jordan Hall Weather, as long as Facebook, and Instagram is the official Jordan Hall. Spelled just like it sounds.
Awesome. And you can follow us on our social media on Twitter at the PDS Podcast, at Manitoba Storm Chasers on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and at 706 Photos everywhere as well. We'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast app. And if your app does let you, please leave a review. That helps us get found by search engines and get a little higher up the rankings.
And make sure you become a supporter on Facebook for the chance to win exclusive merch and prizes like these MDR gift certificates. We still have 3 of to give away. And I guess I should announce, speaking of merch, we have a brand new merch shop. mbstorm.redbubble.com. You can pick up your PDS podcast merch. And make sure you tune in for episode 5, which will be live on December 14th with special guest Shannon Bolesky. And thank you again to Jordan for joining us tonight. And for everybody else that watched the live stream, thank you for joining us. And we will catch you again on December 14th.
Have a good night, everyone.
Hey, thanks, guys.